They were until I saw.
All right.
I rear-ended that.
So, okay, well, good evening, everyone, and
evening.
welcome to the July 16th meeting of the Hyde Park Town Board, regular meeting, public hearings, and workshop. Please join me while we pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a number of public hearings on the agenda, but first I'd like to have a motion to accept the minutes of June 18th.
Make a motion?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And invite anyone up from the public to comment on any of the resolutions that we have before us or any matter of town business. There will be an opportunity to discuss any of the items that have a public hearing scheduled. So please feel free to join me at the podium if you have any comments on any of those items. And if you would, please state your name and your address and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Peter Pulio. I live at 37 Roosevelt Road. I'm right next door to one of the homes that I think prompted the resolution about the maintenance issues. I just wanted to, I know he's not here, but I wanted the board to know that Richard Longendijk has been extremely helpful for the last 18 months working on this issue.
Great.
And I just, if you could extend my thanks to him, I'd appreciate it. When these resolutions come up, we'll be able to speak
Yes.
again? Okay, so that's,
But thank you for that. We agree. Rich
Okay.
has really been a great asset, and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think Rich has been on top of 4 or 5 issues in Statsburg for me this
Yeah.
summer, which it's great to make some progress on
It
some
is,
of those.
and we're lucky to have him. Okay, so as I said, we have 3 public hearings, and going to ask Madam Clerk to go ahead and read the public hearing notice for local law E.
Please take notice that the Hyde Park Town Board has scheduled a public hearing on the adoption of Local Law E of 2018 entitled The Town of Hyde Park Grass Maintenance Law for July 16th, 2018 at 7:05 p.m. at the Hyde Park Town Hall located at 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York. The purpose of said local law is to provide an expedited process for addressing and correcting violations of the New York State Property Maintenance Code with regard to maintenance of lawns. A copy of said public law is available for inspection at the town clerk's office during normal business hours and shall be posted on the town's official website. Any person desiring to be heard at said public hearing shall be given the opportunity to do so at the time of the hearing. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated June 18th, 2018, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Okay, would anyone like to comment on this law? Sure, please.
I'm still Peter Pulio. I still live at 37 Roosevelt. I read the proposed ordinance on the website. I was a little confused about the remedy end of it. The house next to me has been empty for 13 years. The fact that it's still empty and somebody hasn't homesteaded in it is beyond me, but I'm a little concerned that at some point I'm going to see a wildebeest grazing next door because the grass was like that high. Once the ordinance is passed, this particular homeowner, I know from Richard, has already been notified. If they haven't responded, how soon can I see some kind of grass cutting?
Okay, well,
Is there a timeline on that?
so as you can see, this law that we're adopting regarding the grass maintenance law is one that is designed to make the process go a lot faster, because the prior law is Chapter 84, and there's this whole an entire long process that we have to use to take action. So, but being as we already started on this particular home that you have mentioned that we're going to go forward, with this intent. So I am not exactly sure, though. Warren, can you kind of give a potential timeline for when we can expect the grass cut for one of the properties that we already started the action on? I believe we have to we have a resolution. We'll close the public hearing, have the resolution tonight,
Yeah.
and then we have to find a contract. We have to hire someone to do it. So it should
As soon as we can do that.
it should be very soon.
The remedy to cure has already been served on the homeowner.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
The next
Okay.
step would simply be for the town to have the additional remedy of doing the work itself, charging it back as a lien on the
Okay.
property, so.
So it's interesting, it's been empty for 13 years. I don't know if Rich was able to locate a bank or what the story.
No, we really couldn't locate anybody, and then one day I saw a contractor, so I took a picture of the truck and sent the picture to Richard. He contacted the contractor and then backtracked it to the homeowner in Texas, finally found her, and she seemed to come alive for about 4 or 5 months and had people in there working without a building permit. Richard shut that down. And now she's kind of gone back into a cocoon again.
Okay. So for this one, the next step, as you said, is that they've been served with notice. So is it 30 days, Warren, that they have? So they have 30 days to comply
Didn't we
after.
already
Oh,
do
no,
that?
now we're ready to
now
move.
we're ready to go.
Yeah,
Now we're
we're
Okay.
ready to
Right.
move. That's why we're
Okay.
shortening.
That was my understanding as well.
Okay, so very soon.
There's light at the end of the tunnel?
Yes.
Thank you.
After 13 years.
So, I'm sorry, so we hire a contractor to mow lawn, or
Yes.
are we doing it internally?
We could, either one, we can do it ourselves if we want, or hire a contractor.
So
If we
it-
get the highway department
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
our maintenance to do it, we can do it that way.
And then we would charge for the hours, including
right.
the, but, right now, we're going to put a request for proposals out from lawn mowers who, can give us a price in advance, what they would charge per hour, because we don't want to overburden the highway at their busiest time.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's, it's a combination, depending on if the highway has time, or if not, then we'll be
Right.
looking for contractors. They have to pay prevailing wage, and give us a quote, but we'll be putting that out, so.
Gotcha.
Okay. Would anyone else like to speak on this local law? Okay, may I have a motion to go ahead and close the public hearing?
I make a motion?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we have a second public hearing. This is regarding the regulation of signs, and we've had this on our agenda for a number of meetings back, and so hopefully tonight we'll go ahead and pass it. But Madam Clerk, would you go ahead and read the public hearing notice?
Please take notice that the Hyde Park Town Board will continue the public hearing on the adoption of proposed local law C of the year 2018, Town of Hyde Park, entitled A Local Law to Amend Chapter 108 of the Town Code with regard to regulation of signs, on July 16th, 2018 at 7:10 p.m. at the Hyde Park Town Hall, located at 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York. The purpose of said local law is to amend certain provisions of the town code with regard to regulation of signs to ensure that the provisions are content neutral, to eliminate certain amortization requirements of non-conforming signs, and to amend the code with regard to the number of freestanding signs permitted. Certain changes have been made to the proposed local law as a result of public comments on the same. A copy of said local law is on file for inspection at the office of the town clerk during regular business hours. Any person desiring to be heard at said local law will be permitted to do so at the time of the public hearing. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated June 18th, 2018, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
And so would anyone like to speak on this particular law? If so, join us at the podium. Okay.
Greg, did you want to talk on this?
I'm just trying to inform myself.
Okay.
I need to talk to my board and what kind of sense
Okay. So then may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion?
And-
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And the third public hearing is the authorizing the commencement of administrative remedies for 29 Roosevelt Road, 35 Roosevelt Road, 25 Bircher Avenue. Now, I have an email from our Richard Longendijk, the property maintenance inspector, and he said that 4357, 4359 Albany Post Road has been mowed, so we will be taking that off the agenda.
That's good.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, could you please go ahead and read that?
Please take notice that the Hyde Park Town Board will conduct a public hearing on July 16, 2018, at 7:15 p.m. at the Hyde Park Town Hall, located at 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, 12538, for the purpose of determining whether or not the following properties, 29 Roosevelt Road, 35 Roosevelt Road, 4357 through 4359 Albany Post Road, and 25 Bircher Avenue, are in compliance with the standards enumerated in Section 84 of the Town Code. After the public hearing, if these properties are determined to not be in compliance with these standards, the town board in its discretion may undertake to enter the properties and bring them into compliance with the standards enumerated in Section 84 of the Town Code, and the costs and expenses of such remediation shall be assessed against each said property in accordance with the provisions of Section 84-6H of the Town Code. Any person desiring to be heard at said public hearing shall be given the opportunity to do so. Copies of the documentation supporting said actions are on file in the office of the town clerk during regular business hours for inspection purposes. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated June 18th, 2018, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Okay, so would anyone like to speak on this particular law?
I'm still me. 29 is a property that I believe is in foreclosure.
Okay,
And I'm under at least the impression that once it forecloses, which could be a while in New York, that the bank must assume the maintenance of that property. Am I correct on that one? That's really all I needed to know. Thank you.
so, yeah, but a lot of times they don't live up to that obligation.
Right.
And then Rich will continue to be on it.
At that point, they would assume the coat and the clothing of the homeowner, right?
Yep,
They'd be subject to the same rule.
That's right.
that's right. Hey, Carol, would anyone else like to speak on this local law? On this matter? Okay, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
So we have a number of housekeeping items here, and I'm going to be looking for some motions to alter our agenda. So let's start with the workshops. The Comptroller Semi-Annual Report, it was on as a workshop, but TC was unable to be here tonight, so I'd like for a motion to pull that from the agenda, and we'll reschedule for August.
I make a motion?
A second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, let's see. We will need a resolution to amend resolution number 13. There was, let me see,
It's in
a
there. yeah.
minor change to that. Let me just find that, what that is exactly.
We have the new version in
We
our
have the new
folder.
version.
We have the new version, yeah.
The old one is behind it.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's the, so, with this one, we're changing it to allow, me to also, in addition to signing the contract, allow me to advertise for, requests for proposals. And so, at the same time, so is that, so may I have a motion to do that?
I make a motion to amend that resolution.
Need a second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
So then we also have to add at the dais, Resolution 716-25, to go ahead and take action on 29 Roosevelt Road. So may I have a motion to add Resolution 25?
I make that motion.
And I second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And then also Resolution 26.
Yes.
And that's for 35 Roosevelt Road.
I make a motion.
And I second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And then also Resolution 27, and that's for 25 BIRCHER Avenue.
I make that motion.
And I second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
I just noticed a couple more people joined us, and we did do that public hearing a little early. I
Oh,
wonder
okay.
if, we should just see
So
if there's any
should
more
we-
comments.
So, sure. Well, so can we go ahead and
There's also a rescission.
Okay.
We had already done the public hearing on those properties under the property maintenance law. Did any of you want to speak on? No. Okay, no problem. Just curious if that
Okay.
was the case.
Right there, hold on.
I was just wondering.
If come right on up to the podium. That's okay. Come up to the podium if you could.
Yeah, hear you.
We'll lower it right down for you.
Okay, my name is Carol Fenton. I live over in Quaker Hill Estates. Some of the neighbors were concerned about other properties around us. People I'm sure you must have discussed this already. They have numerous cars in their property, boats, this, that, and everything, and it sort of detracts from our properties. And is there a way we could, help out with cleaning up some of these properties? The one on North Quaker Lane was a disaster, but I think the town came up and there's garbage all over, and I
Yep.
think the town has taken care of that in some way. Because
Yeah.
we've offered to the family, we would pick up the garbage or try to do something, but I don't know legally what we can do, or if we can come on anybody else's property or not.
Okay, so we do have a process in place, and what you would do is you would file a property maintenance complaint with either Tad Moss, she's the zoning administrator, or with Rich Longendijk, and you would just kind of write down the issues that you see, and you deliver it to them. But what you could do, if you prefer, Carol, is you could just email me the addresses of the properties you're concerned about, and I will forward that to both Rich Longendijk and Tad and ask her to follow up.
As good neighbors, we try to, mention to them, there's so much piling up of junk and cars and
Yeah.
trailers and everything in your property, and, no one seems to, that you're bothering them, and
Yeah.
I'm afraid, you could get arrested yourself for getting on their property.
Well, yeah, no, you wouldn't really want to do that. That's
No,
smart of
so-
you not to. But we
Okay,
do
so
have.
we just make
We do have a process in place for property maintenance complaints, and they're handled by two different departments depending on which
Is there
type.
something I could read what a property should, what you're allowed on your
Yeah,
property?
so
Okay.
if you go to the town website, there's our town code, and it will have, it's chapter 84 is how the town can enforce an action on property maintenance violations. But also, there's the New York State Property Maintenance Code that also details that. But you know what? I think you're welcome to do that, and it's a great way to be informed. But as I said, you're welcome to email me your concerns with and then I'll forward
That's what I
them.
tell my neighbors, I said, we sit around and you're complaining about it and you're trying to offer help, but maybe we should just,
Yeah.
come to a board meeting, I'm the only one here, okay, and, try to find out where do we start, and then we
Well,
could take
yeah, no, that's
instead
good
of-
that you came, and now
you know.
you can be the messenger and go
Okay.
back and tell your neighbors that there is definitely a process in place, but the first thing to do is to lodge a complaint.
Okay.
And you can see that, we do follow up, and we have been pretty
Yeah.
successful at it, but we're also creating a a law to make it easier to require properties
Oh, good.
to mow their grass, because it's really a very, very common complaint is the grass.
The grass, and
Uh,
some of the people are unable to take, if you're unable to take garbage, then, you know, how can we help our neighbor, you know?
Well, yes.
That's the most important thing, too.
Well, thanks for doing that, and do you want me to write down my email address?
Okay. Okay, I'll get it after.
And
Okay.
could I bother you for your last name?
Fenton, F-E-N-T-O-N.
Thank
Carol-
you.
Carol with an E.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Okay, put these back up for everybody else.
I have way too many papers here. So there is an additional resolution that we need to add at the dais also, and that's number 28, authorizing the Hyde Park Planning Board to extend deadlines and site plan approval for Barry's Bed and Breakfast.
I make that motion?
I second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm, Yes, I think, sir, our attorney has
I
a
just have a
question
question.
for you.
You mentioned that on one of the properties, that you believe that it was in foreclosure. If you have that information, could you give that to our zoning enforcement, our building inspector?
Rich.
Rick, it would help him to enforce it if he knew the bank. Yeah. Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, is that it for the amendments? Donna, you think? Okay.
I think so.
All right, we may have to amend them spontaneously, depending on,
Well, there were those two that we just talked about. Did you want to do those?
okay. Do you remember what those were?
Yep, number 5, we just needed to change the date on there.
Oh, right.
7/16/5, the third paragraph should say, the acting appointment expires July 25th.
Not, yes, so.
So I make a motion to amend that.
Okay, and a
Second.
second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And yes,
And I think you wanted to pull number 10.
yep. So that's the county shared service extension. We're just going to pull that to make some minor corrections to the language.
I make a motion?
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Lots of housekeeping.
Well, it's a busy meeting.
Yeah, well, that's because we
Just
only
have
have
one in
one.
July.
Okay.
Supervisor, I just want to say, I'm really excited about tonight's meeting with how many enforcements we're having with properties.
I know.
I
It's
just
good
want to
stuff.
thank you for finally getting the ball rolling with Rich downstairs, and we really have a process now. I know, like on the corner of North Quaker, that was a process, and that, you know, came to an end. And I also had one on Salt Point Turnpike, and now we have some on throughout the town.
Yep.
And the process of making this easier, not only for the workers within Town Hall, but for the residents is a great thing. So thank you.
Did you announce we're changing this date, that date, to July 25th? Thanks, Ken. You know, this is one of the most common issues that comes to our attention.
Yep.
Well,
for
you know,
sure,
when
so.
people take great pride in their homes, when
Yeah.
their neighbors doesn't, it's a problem.
Okay,
Especially when they're banks and foreclosures,
Yeah,
and
you
the
hate
banks
that.
are not,
You hate
living
that.
up to their responsibility.
yep. Okay, so we'll be going forward on all those actions, and I'm sure many more. Okay, so Pete, do you want to give us an update on the highway salt barn?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass out some pictures of the ongoing work. I'm sure a lot of you have driven by.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that it's really been looking fantastic, the highway garage. I know that Pete had the idea of, instead of just redoing the flat roof, because it needed to be re-roofed, that we could, for, I guess about the
Right.
same price, put the
Yeah.
peaked roof on, and it really looks,
Much better.
yeah, less, and it looks
It'll last,
lovely.
it'll
Yeah,
last a lot
yeah,
longer.
it's great. It looks even better than this now, because there's siding on the front.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, I haven't seen the siding.
Today or
Yeah, the siding is on the front, and it matches the building. It's beautiful.
I didn't pick the siding, Howie did, so the color,
Well done.
so.
Oh, wow.
All right, well, yeah, as you can see,
Mm-hmm.
the work has been progressing. I would say that we'll probably be done by the end of the month. We've got the roof installed on the salt barn, and I believe that as of today, I wasn't in the office today, but I believe that the highway garage roof is for the most part done. So as we were proceeding with the work, there was obviously some things that we could not determine because the barn was filled up with salt. And if any of you had been up there at all, you can remember that the back wall of the salt barn was bowed, badly. So when we put the project out for bid, we did include a $15,000 contingency for items that may come up, and we've used that money. We've got, as you can see in my letter, we've got about $1,500 left in that. But as we were starting to work on the back wall, and straighten it up, and pull that wall in, we noticed, and I know it's very hard to see on the pictures that we submitted, but if you go out there, right at the bottom of two of the posts, there's a fairly significant crack, in each one of them. And the posts on the back wall have a 6x6 post that goes all the way up to the top of the salt barn. And then right next to that, there's an 8x8 post that's attached to it, and the 8x8 post is encased in a concrete footing. So the 8x8 post is the one that's cracked. And the unfortunate part is both of the cracks are right down towards the floor. So if they were a little bit higher up, we would have an opportunity to splice it and maybe do something else, like to brace it. As you can see in your pictures, one of the things that we did to try to reinforce the back wall, and we have done this on another project that we similar type project, but we put in a fairly significant concrete buttress wall in the back, and then we attached 6x6 posts to the concrete buttress wall and attached it to the back of the wall of the shed. So this will prevent anything in the future in terms of once the salt is loaded back into the barn. Once they're in there working, they're pushing on it. So we've got enough structural support now that this thing will last for another 20 to 30 years. And as you can see, which was always part of the work, on all three sides, we haven't yet replaced the back wall, but all of the tongue and groove on the inside was replaced, and then there was some plywood that was put on the inside of that. So it was a fairly significant project. And Transitional Builders, a local Hyde Park firm, has done a really great job. So I outlined here, because I wanted you to know how we use some of the $15,000 towards the project. The first one, we had some additional 2x6x10 blocking, for nailing, and that was in your package. If you see this picture here, it was just some additional blocking that would make that more stable. So we thought that was good. That was a suggestion by the contractor. We did also have work change directive 2. There was one of the main columns on the back wall that was very cracked. So in addition to the 2 that we're talking about here, we did have one other one that was very bad. That was very obvious, to see. So we authorized that. Work change order directive 3 was just some minor things for some additional brackets on the rear foundation wall. And then work change directive 4 was for some additional staining of the exterior tongue and groove on 3 sides of the salt barn. And again, that's, these these three sides. We did have in the bid to scrape and stain the two end walls, but we didn't have in to do this. So, you know, we have to go do that to make it all like uniform and, you know, lasting. So if that was part of the bid to begin with, we still would have, you know, paid for it. It's just that it wasn't. You know, I come to you with, we do have these two extra posts on, you know, the back wall. We worked with the contractor, and we negotiated a change order of an additional $13,400 for that work. We had some conversations last week where we thought that we may be able to do something a little bit differently that may not cost as much. One of our structural engineers was out there today and met with the contractor. He sent me an email, and I guess after, you know, they looked at it and, you know, pushed on it like a little bit, it is cracked pretty much all the way like through. So they do feel that like replacing these like in total versus in trying to do some kind of like a bracing is probably like the best way to go. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but it is only an 8%, you know, increase over the over the total project price. I didn't have a chance to check, but I'm pretty confident that even with this extra work, and it brings the contract to $175,000, I believe that this is still less than the second lowest price that we had gotten for, you know, the project. So I think, you know, overall we're getting a good job, and the barn is going to it'll last for another 20 to 30 years. It was in pretty bad shape.
Well, backing up to the first times that we talked about this, I think we were looking at much higher costs to really replace the building or do, you know, a substantial overhaul.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you were able to come up with this solution to repair it and give it another 20 or 30
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
is really
Yeah. And we're not going
getting
to,
a good deal.
and we're not going to have anything else. I mean, we found anything that we're going to find. So they should be, like I said, they should be finished with this work
Yeah, it looks really
by the
good.
end of the month.
That's a good
Yeah, it
solution.
does.
So-
And I think the first estimate that when we discussed the different approaches was around 300,000.
Wow.
Yeah, if we were going to
So,
do a total
yeah.
like replacement, yeah. So.
This was a good hybrid solution.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, come out like well. Again, you know, we don't want to spend any extra like money, but unfortunately, again, you know, the salt was in there. These are things that you just can't, you know, see.
Well, the back wall, when they push, you know, when they go in to scoop the salt and everything, right, that's where
Yeah.
the worst force is.
You know, and honestly, I mean, the barn was never meant, you know, for salt. You know, the barn was supposed to be a sand barn. You know, back when it was built in, I think, the early 1990s, they didn't use as much salt as they typically use, you know, today. So the one salt barn, the old salt barn that's up on the hill, you know, the dome that you see, that was really where they stored the salt. And this was actually meant, you know, for sand. And that was at the time when they mixed. So over time, you know, transition into salt and magic salt, and, you know, the barn just got used, you know, for salt, and it wasn't necessarily like meant for that. But now, you know, we've got a barn with the, you know, improvements that we've done. Now it is, you know, meant for salt. So I think that we're in pretty good shape. So I hope
We
that
hate
everybody's
spending more
happy
money,
with.
But it has to be done, and we want a good job that has longevity. So
Yeah.
we were awarded a SAM grant through Senator Serino for the majority of the work, which helps, the
Yeah.
150,000.
Yeah, we were awarded 150,000.
150,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So you're getting a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Any
So,
any questions?
I'm good.
I'm
I
good.
mean,
I'm good.
yeah,
Yep.
yes.
Good.
Looks great.
Okay.
You know, Howie's
Thank
happy
you.
with how the work is going, too.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I honestly, you know, the highway department, you know, has been, you know, excellent on, you know, a whole bunch of things. But even on, you know, this job, you know, they pitched in. There was a lot of work that, you know, they did as far as, you know, the excavating of that concrete wall in the back. They excavated it all. Then once the concrete was poured, you know, they backfilled it, and there's still some other cleanup work that they have like to do. So it's been a real good cooperative effort. So
Looks
Nice
great.
to hear.
it's a good deal.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Pete.
Okay.
All right, and thanks for your help on a number of the other resolutions, but I
Yeah.
think they're pretty
How
self-explanatory.
did, you know, I do, Counselor, all right, on the resolutions? Huh?
Okay, we had some revisions, but,
Marvelous.
all right, thanks, Pete. right, so the next item on the workshop agenda is just something I wanted to just touch base with everyone on, because it's a decision that we're going to have to make fairly soon. And it's the salt, which when I told Pete that was going to be on the agenda, he's like, salt? We're doing the salt part. But it's represents the state and local government tax programs. So as many people have followed, the IRS code was changed in 2019 to disallow any payments above $10,000 total. That would include your local taxes as well as your state income taxes. And so in New York, we have high taxes, and that's been kind of a mechanism that we utilize to kind of defray the pain of that. So the state government enacted a law earlier this year as a way to address that IRS code change. And so there's two components to it. The first is the state has set up a charitable contribution website fund. So that the state launched a local charitable contribution website with information for local governments and school districts on the establishment of charitable contribution funds and the offering of property tax credits for donations to these funds as authorized under the state budget, the 2019 state budget. So the state has set up a charitable reserve fund where people can make donations to that in lieu of making their state tax payments. And the philosophy, the thought behind that is that those charitable deductions remain deductions from your taxes. So the state has created this fund, and the way it would work is that you would make this contribution to the state charitable fund. You would get some sort of receipt in its place that you would then be able to submit with your tax forms. But they've also created a mechanism for local governments to do the same, if they choose to do so. So essentially, we would be considering the idea of creating this local government charitable fund, whereby residents could make donations to this fund that then 95% of that, 100% of that would go to the town in lieu of the town tax payments, and they would get to take a 95% deduction for that amount. So, it's something that they're asking local governments to consider, and I'm not really sure whether we will opt to do that. We can do it at the town board level, where we would adopt a local law and a resolution creating this fund, and thereby allowing people to still continue to deduct their state taxes above $10,000. But that would only be applicable to town taxes. What would have to happen is the school district would also have to follow this methodology and adopt a resolution by their school board to allow this charitable fund to be created. And the time is shorter for the school district, which it's pretty urgent, I would think, if they're going to do that, because as we know, school taxes are payable in September, and I have not heard from the school district whether they will be doing that, but they would really need to inform our tax collector, so if they do plan to do it. So the Association of Towns is doing some workshops throughout the state. There's a webinar that I'm going to be participating in, as will Cindy Todd, the tax receiver, but the decision really will be up to the town board whether we want to go this length to create a charitable reserve fund so that people can basically circumvent this process. But there's a lot of questions about it, because it's not really been determined whether the IRS will find that acceptable.
Right.
And so there may very well be risk on the part of people that are doing this, because if the IRS disallows it, then they may be in jeopardy of losing that deduction, but in addition, they may accrue fees and that type of thing for the period where the IRS did not receive the funds. So it's
Yeah.
kind of fraught with complications and decisions, and
Yeah, and I'm just also wondering, like, a lot of the homeowners have escrow. How does that,
Yeah,
how does that
there's,
work, with the,
right.
with the banks, how do you make that decision, and then how does that
It's complicated.
get funded?
Yep.
So I was
So
trying to figure out, so it's the idea that like when you get your tax bill, so you know the amount, that instead of paying it to the town, you pay it into this charitable
Right.
Reserve. Yeah.
But then as the town, do we just get to put that
Yeah.
into the general fund?
Yes.
And use it for our regular
It's
expenses?
actually general or highway.
Okay.
Yes,
So it's
so-
not restricted as to how we can
No,
use it? 'cause
no,
we
for any
need
town
that
use.
revenue. Right,
Right,
okay.
no, it's not as if you could make a donation to the SPCA and take
Right.
that off your
Yeah.
taxes.
Right.
No, it's.
Well, you can, but you
Well,
can take it off your
not-
town
but
taxes.
Not
Right,
off your
right,
town
right, right,
taxes,
right.
that you
Yeah.
would need to have that documentation regarding that it was a contribution to this very specific fund.
So as far as the town's revenue, it wouldn't really change
It
anything?
wouldn't really change our revenue. It's more a matter of, will taxpayers take advantage of it? Is it really going to be viable for
Right.
them?
Yeah.
There's a lot of uncertainty, and I was not at the last mayors and supervisors meeting, but I did have put that on the agenda, and when I saw the supervisor of Clinton, I asked him, how the discussion went, and he indicated that most of the towns were not going to be doing this because of the various complications. So there's a meeting tomorrow with the county executive, and I'm sure we will be discussing that. But again, because most people's tax bills, it's about 78% is the school tax,
Right.
that they seem like the entity that really could be making a difference for people's,
Is the school?
is the school, and they would need to be the body
Lead.
that takes action.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the next discussion really should be, if the school's doing it, they need to get that in motion. But if they're not, is there really that much benefit to the town doing it? Because we're only typically, about 6% of a total tax bill?
Yeah.
Because I don't think the county's gonna do it either, though they have the option.
So people, the IRS, I don't want to try to understand it too.
Yeah.
The limit of $10,000 is for your state income tax and all your property tax?
Right.
State
So
and local.
anything over 10,000.
Is
you
not deductible.
cannot
You're not gonna
deduct.
be able to deduct
So
that. as a-
whichever, like if the state allowed you to take care of your income taxes that way, that would help people
That would
a
really
lot
keep-
more than
yes.
any of these
Right,
other things, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and they already have this fund set up at the state, so I
Okay.
think that's a really good point, because especially if your state income taxes are high, then that would probably be the most likely mechanism.
But I guess maybe for people who are retired or where the bigger part of their taxes is their property taxes.
Right.
Right,
Then
right.
it's, yeah.
School tax.
So,
But you're right, it's the
you know,
school more than anything.
so there is a very good article in the Association of Towns magazine
Yeah.
that explains it, and so I think that, I just wanted to put it out there, and maybe I'll forward the email from the New York State that kind of explains it, so at least we can make a decision on it, and rather than just de facto not doing it, at least we'll make it.
I just would want to make sure that we're not putting any of the residents in jeopardy of any type of fines down the road.
Well, if
That would be
there's-
my only fear, is if we
Yeah.
pass something
don't know
and
that.
then it backfires.
Well,
Yeah.
that's up to everyone with their tax advisor, I think.
You're
yeah,
right, you're right.
But
I guess we're just giving
hear
them the
ya.
tool.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
100%
Yeah,
right.
you pay into the fund and then they give you a voucher, as I understand it, so,
Exactly,
okay.
yeah.
And
So-
we should also talk with our tax receiver, because this seems like it'd be a considerable amount of extra work. Like, what if
Definitely.
people make a contribution to the fund, but it's not the whole amount, and then she has to figure out how
Right,
much
and then
else
what do you
to
do
charge
about
them.
late fees and,
Right.
yeah,
And
that's
providing
why,
receipts
Yeah,
and
that's
all
what I was
of
asking
that.
about, like mortgages. I mean, do you
Yeah.
contact your
Right.
bank and say,
Right.
do I want this to go to, I mean,
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts there.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why it sounds like a lot of the supervisors are like,
Don't wanna deal
it's
with it.
just, this is very unwieldy
Yeah,
and
this is gonna come
so,
along.
but again, hey, if the state is providing that option, and if the school district were to do it, I
Yeah.
don't think we would have to really enact it, but, okay. So, that's it. So shall we move on to the resolutions?
Yes.
And, I think,
Resolution 716-1 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute a modification and extension agreement with Panici Holding Corporation, DBA Royal Karting Service Company, for rubbish removal services for the town of Hyde Park.
My second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
And it was, Ken had negotiated a great contract with them for about 5 or 6 years,
6
I
years,
think.
yeah.
Where we
Thank you, Ken.
provided, they provided service free of charge to the town. and
Right.
They decided that that wasn't working for them
Well,
anymore.
yeah, I mean, they
Go
were,
there.
you know, they were very gracious for 6 years, picking up all of our,
Yeah.
you know, rubbish from all of the facilities.
Oh, really? All the sites?
At no charge.
Yeah.
But just the cost of doing business today and recycling has actually ended up costing them a lot more money, so they just couldn't provide that same contract
Yeah,
to us.
and just to point out to the public, that we often have had feedback regarding the prices that were listed on the website, that there was some disparity between what the Royal Karting was charging and what was on the website. So what we did in this resolution is, I just encourage people to contact Royal Karting directly, because they do change their prices, and this way they will know in advance how much it will cost.
Right, and if residents are not aware, Saturday mornings at the highway garage, Royal Karting is there where you can get rid of, you know, a lot of debris. So if you have, you know, garbage in your yard, couches, chairs, wood, and, you know, anything, they take it there. So you don't have to travel to Kingston or Poughkeepsie. We have it right at the town highway garage, and it's a great, it's really, it's a great service for the residents. So
They
that's
charge
it.
a nominal fee.
They charge a very nominal fee.
Yeah.
It's well worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. Resolution 716-2 of 2018, resolution approving cumulative change orders to the Hyde Park, New York State Route 9 pedestrian improvements capital project construction contract for A. Colarusso and Sons, Inc.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And if you'll notice the change order number 4, we are actually reducing the contract cost by $81,000, so that was a very pleasant, not exactly a surprise, but close, so.
Resolution 716-3 of 2018. Resolution authorizing the appointment of conditional employee 1-2018 known as Alec Brandow as full-time police officer to the Town of Hyde Park Police Department.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-4 of 2018, resolution authorizing a hawking and peddling license for the operation of Carol's Hot Dogs.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-5 of 2018, resolution to appoint Jennifer Monde as hourly sole assessor for the town of Hyde Park.
And second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we welcome Jennifer aboard, and she's coming to us with a lot of experience. She's the sole assessor in the town of Lloyd, but has deep roots to Hyde Park, and so we're looking forward to her taking the reins.
It's amazing work on your part, Aileen,
Phew.
for wading through all the different
And-
potential
and-
options for setting up
Yeah.
a team for the assessing function.
And, you know, we appreciate definitely the patience of the town residents, because we know it's been hard not having someone here full-time, which is what people are used to, and that will be back to normal starting August 1st.
So we'll have an assessor part-time and then a full-time aide.
That's right.
Full-time
Yep. Deputy.
Deputy.
Deputy,
Yep.
sorry.
Resolution 716-6 of 2018, resolution creating the position of deputy assessor and appointing Mara Rothman as provisional deputy assessor.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-7 of 2018, resolution authorizing the waiver of the Town of Hyde Park Recreation Facility to use fee for the use of Greenfields Park for the Roosevelt Engine Company No. 2 Children's Halloween Party on Saturday, October 27, 2018.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Resolution 716-8 of 2018, authorizing the release of road opening bond for South Cross Road Water Company Incorporated, road location intersection of Gloria Drive and West Long Meadow Drive.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-9 of 2018, resolution authorizing Hyde Park Justice Court Clerk Jessica Edwards to attend the New York State Association of Magistrates Court Clerks 2018 Annual Conference, September 16th to 19th in Lake Placid.
I second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-11, 2018, resolution adopting local law C of the year 2018 entitled "A Local Law to Amend Chapter 108 of the Town Code with regard to the regulation of signs."
Second?
Sure. Madam Clerk, can you please do a roll call?
Councilwoman Svensson.
Aye.
Councilman Ray.
Aye.
Councilman Marine.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Supervisor Rohr.
Aye.
Hey,
That was a long way, a long
That's a
time in the
long
making, and
process.
we're glad to see that done.
Resolution 716-12 of 2018, resolution adopting local law E of 2018 entitled "The Town of Hyde Park Grass Maintenance Law."
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yes, I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
Don.
Do a roll call.
Yes, let's have a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Svensson.
Aye.
Councilman Ray.
Aye.
Councilman Marine.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Supervisor Rohr.
Aye.
Resolution 716-13 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute a shared commercial sewer district expansion study contract pursuant to the Municipal Innovation Grant Program.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-14 of 2018, resolution approving budget revisions to the Town of Hyde Park for the period of June 2018, budget revision number 2018-06.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-15 of 2018, resolution adjusting compensation and wages for part-time and seasonal employees for the town of Hyde Park for 2018.
Second?
And roll call, please.
Councilwoman Svensson.
Aye.
Councilman Ray.
Aye.
Councilman Marine.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Supervisor Rohr.
Aye.
Resolution 716-16 of 2018, resolution authorizing highway superintendent to auction surplus highway vehicle.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 716-17 of 2018, resolution appointing Connor Tarbell to the Town of Hyde Park Conservation Advisory Council, the CAC.
And
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I just wanted to say I'm really excited about Connor joining the CAC. He has a degree in environmental science, and he works for PVE Scheffler doing remediation work and site assessments, and is sort of very knowledgeable about subsurface contamination and geological issues. So now our CAC has a habitat biologist, a environmental chemist, and a geologist. I mean, we're like the most professional
brain.
CAC
Yeah.
out there, I think,
Amazing.
so it's pretty cool.
That's great.
It is.
Oh, that's me.
Yep.
716-18 of 2018. Resolution authorizing the town supervisor to submit the 2018 consolidated funding application for sewer and economic development for the Hyde Park Downtown Infrastructure Project,
I second.
Phase 2.
Phase two, yes. And all in favor?
Aye. So, yeah, just to give a
Sure.
quick overview. So, so far, we have committed $5.3 million in grants towards constructing a sewer system. And we've started talking with some of the key property owners, and it's sort of a universal assessment that we're going to need some more grants to make this thing affordable. So we're going to be applying for another $2 million from the state, and hopefully we'll get some more funds and try to make this thing fly.
That's it.
Resolution 716-19 of 2018, resolution acknowledging the resignation of Chan Murphy as a member of the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board.
And a second. And I just want to thank Chan for his very dedicated service. I'm not sure how long he's been with the planning board, but
Long
it's
time.
many years.
He
so-
said about 50 years between all the different boards, is what he said.
That was as old as me.
But
We
we're
wish him
gonna-
well in Florida.
Wish him
Wish
well,
him well,
and thank him
Florida,
for all
for
his
sure.
service.
Goodbye.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-20 of 2018, resolution authorizing Sergeant Bradley Moore and police officers Martin Monaco and Thomas Marabella of the Hyde Park Police Department to attend the New York State Police Juvenile Officers and School Resource Officers 2018 annual training from Monday, August 27, 2018 to Friday, August 31st, 2018 in Binghamton, New York.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-21 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town clerk and town engineer to solicit bids for the installation of pedestrian lights on the Route 9 from Calmer Place to Rogers Place, adoption of a negative declaration under SEQA regulations.
Second.
And Warren's going to go through the seeker with us?
Yeah, this is actually for this resolution and for the next resolution. We have, just do a quick environmental review. Our consultant, Greenman Peterson, has prepared a short environmental assessment form, part one, for each of the two resolutions and actions, and has indicated in a part two analysis, which they have performed for us for our adoption, that the NIDA action will have any moderate to large impacts on the environment. So if that's acceptable to the town board, when you pass these two resolutions, you'll be indicating that both projects will have no need for a draft environmental impact statement and negative secret determination of the issue.
Okay. So just to bring everybody up to speed on these two projects, again, you know, we're working towards a very distinct plan to create a downtown initiative, and that has two parts. Essentially the sewer infrastructure part, which Emily discussed just a few minutes ago, and that this very dedicated effort to bring a commercial sewer district to the town of Hyde Park has been many years in the making, and we are making progress. As Emily mentioned, $5.3 million in terms of grants we have been awarded towards this projected $18 million cost. But that's the one portion of the downtown initiative. The second is the pedestrian improvements, and so again, we did a big project last year, which we just did the final change order this year, a year later after it's all, and so that just is a good indication of how much paperwork is actually involved in these. But in addition to the construction of the sidewalks, which occurred last year with the TAP funding, we're awarded a SAM grant through our Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett of $500,000, which is providing funds for the match monies, the 20% match for that sidewalk project. The other 80% was funded through the state, but it's also providing funding to add pedestrian level lighting to that part of Hyde Park. So we've been again working on this for well over a year, and now we're at the point where we will be soliciting bids. So that's what the seeker that Warren just did, and obviously there isn't going to be significant environmental impact for that, but so that's one part of the pedestrian improvement project. And then for the other resolution that Warren just discussed, the neg deck for that, it's for a sidewalk project that Pete is designing for us, funded with community development block grant monies, and that's to go from the Route 9 intersection to Pine Woods Park. So both of those are are works in progress, and we're happy again to have them primarily funded with either state or federal funds. So did we vote on that?
No.
No.
Okay. Did we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't remember who read it. Is it back around to me?
I don't remember.
Back to
Resolution 71622 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town clerk and town engineer to solicit bids for the Pine Woods Road pedestrian improvement project and adoption of a neg deck under the seeker regulations.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-23 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute a change order agreement with Transitional Builders, Inc. for the Hyde Park Highway Salt Shed and Highway Garage Repair Project.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-24 of 2018, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute an amended agreement with Greenman Peterson, Inc. for construction support and inspection services for the Hyde Park Route 9 Pedestrian Improvements Project, PIN 8761.23.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Resolution 716-25 of 2018, resolution authorizing entrance on the property located at 29 Roosevelt Road, Town of Hyde Park, to bring that property into compliance with the standards of Chapter 84 of the Town Code and to assess the cost of such actions against the property as a lien in charge on the same.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 71622 of 2018, resolution authorizing entrance on the property located at 35 Roosevelt Road, Town of Hyde Park, to bring the property into compliance with the standards of Chapter 84 of the Town Code and to assess the costs of such action against the property as a lien in charge on the same.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 716-27 of 2018, resolution authorizing entrance on the property located at 25 BIRCHER Avenue, Town of Hyde Park, to bring the property into compliance with the standards of Chapter 84 of the Town Code and to assess the cost of such actions against the property as a lien and charge of the same.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
I just want to note that, even something as apparently simple as this required a lot of back and forth, not just with Rich, but, the comptroller's department had to talk to real property and find out how we attach a lien, and it's nice to see them coming to fruition, and also nice to know that we've got the process down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Resolution 716-28, resolution authorizing the Hyde Park Planning Board to extend all deadlines in site plan approval for Barry's Bed and Breakfast.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I have just some correspondence that I would like to read, and it's from a resident, Margaret O'Hara, and good evening, stated June 1st. This letter is to recognize 2 Hyde Park employees, Officer Monaco and Miss LaLuna. As I am about to have my 3rd and final child graduate from Hyde Park schools, I reflect on the last 4 years and what a positive impact these 2 people have had in my daughter's life. Katie had a rough time personally during her middle school years, and then in spring of her freshman year, she was injured by another student. The assistant principal at the time was less than helpful, but Officer Monaco was very kind and helped us through the process of filing charges. Afterwards, Katie was unsure of her safety and was relied on Miss LaLuna and Officer Monaco. They became her confidants, cheerleaders, and voice of reason when needed. She began to grow as a person and became more confident. They've truly earned my respect and gratitude, and they helped Katie and our family. They deserve my recognition as well as our communities. I hope the school board and town board, as well as the Hyde Park Police, understand what a great impact these people have on the people of this community. So I just wanted to share that and to thank Officer Monaco for his very good work. It doesn't go unnoticed.
I tell you, the lives that our officers touch with the young ones, I think of, Officer Benson at the time, where the kids called him OB, and it was in the DARE program and baseball. I mean, it's just, the connections they still have today
Yeah.
as adults is amazing. So that's great hearing.
Good. I agree. So our next meeting, again, we won't have one till August, and I'm not sure, is that August 13th, perhaps?
August 13th.
Yes, August 13th. Okay, so it'll probably be another big meeting, but hopefully a little bit better organized. But no, we
all right.
did good. We got a lot done. Okay, good. All right, so may I
Make a
have
motion.
a motion to adjourn?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Turn the mic off.
Well, thank you for coming out. Appreciate that.
Thank you,
It's-
Pete.
it's